This is layer 3. And in layer 2, what we did is we started to play with our palette. In this case, these big color shift. So this is going from a purplish blue all the way through green back to a greener blue. So this big prismatic shift that moves our eye from large to small and small to smaller again, large to small again, and then we move the eye. So we're actually going to go from a lighter purple to a darker purple, and this cool palette that moves the eye is just so essential to get us back. I've taken some paint in layer 2 and just added to the surface that we created by randomly picking colors and just smashing them into the wet paint. Today I've picked another palette and I'm going to start to build on that so that we have some interest staying within the palette we established. So I've got some medium and I've got this really beautiful dark color. And in this case, I'm going to take a roller. This is called a brayer, and it's a printmaking tool. And I'm going to just get some paint on that roller, and this is called charging the roller, by the way. I'm going to charge the roller so I have a pretty even coat of paint. And then I'm going to real lightly start to catch the surface of the surface that I put down. And a few things are happening. In the process of putting paint down, I'm also picking up wet paint that was still there. So at each time at some point I'm going to have to wipe this off and add new paint on. Oh, look at that. So you don't know what's going to happen, really. So I'm going to come back and start to figure out and play with those spots of color. And this is just layer 3. So what I'm doing now is complicating the color palette and making certain that the palette is interesting. And I have some sense of diminishment. At the same time I'm doing that, I'm going to come back and start to play with this water's edge a little bit. Look how pretty that dark blue-green plays against this lighter green. So rather than having that same color down here, which may or may not work, I'll probably change colors there. But this is going to work nicely across here. And I'm just creating, again, a rhythm of either vertical reflection or horizontal surface. And I'm just going to play with that and start to, in an interesting, uncontrolled way, mix these colors. And it's just a really fascinating way for me to play with this level 2 and get color down and lose some control. Because, you know, this is part of the magic. Is how do you do something without knowing what's going to happen? So part of it is experience, part of it is mistake, and part of it is luck. But the biggest part of this is controlling your palette. And this is still layer 3. So I'm just building complexity up, establishing, getting my color palettes to work, getting enough layer in here so there's some harmony in the piece. And I'm really letting some of these accent colors either stay or recognize where they are. To a certain extent, I'm able to even throw some paint on, which allows for a kind of a randomness that I can't get without some sense of luck. So in this stage, I know the color's going to work. It's worked here. I'm going to throw it on just enough so that and over the years, I've learned how to throw paint pretty accurately. Started at home with food and brothers. I'm going to come back and just pull in some lights across this fluff mud area just to break that up again. And remember the comment, we don't get magic at the end unless we start with magic. So this is the underpainting for layer 3. I'll come back again with that same rubber tip tool and start to look at and recreate some of the rhythms that are needed to create some interest on the next layer. Layer 4, 5, and maybe if I needed 6, are controlling the chaos that we've established in the first, second, and third layer. But we've already ascribed a great deal of control with this by keeping the palette minimal and creating a different surface for each layer. And that's pretty much the job of layer 3. So we've, again, attacked the painting quickly. There wasn't a lot of time involved, but there was a lot of paint. And I've just created harmony and interest and excitement and starting to play with the idea of what happens as I leave some colors and what areas I've got to reveal and leave alone. And so this is the job. I'll let this dry and I'll come back with layer 4.